What's black, blue, and dead all over? What's up, guys? We're talking about the Batman on this YouTube video here, talking about DC FanDome. We got another look at the Batman, a second trailer, along with a conversation between director Matt Reeves and actors Zoe Kravitz and, of course, Robert Pattinson, who plays Bruce Wayne himself. I'm EJ, joined by Shamari and Kendall. And guys, this was obviously the main event of the whole experience. It was the last thing they put on. Not only did they have that conversation, but then they had the second trailer for the Batman. I'm kind of speechless because it was a lot going on, not just in that conversation, but of course in that trailer. I'll go to Kendall first. What'd you think of the trailer? I thought it was pretty epic. The score is goated. It may be the best score for a superhero movie since Avengers. But there was a lot of other stuff that went into that beyond the score. So I'm curious what you thought of the trailer.
Yeah, I mean, I remember last year when they debuted it, we had no idea, obviously, and then they debuted it at FanDome, the Michael Giacchino, theme, and that score is incredible. But yeah, I mean, when you're talking about this trailer, it's interesting because it's been over a year since we saw the last one, and so they showed it so early last time, and for a movie that it got pushed back, obviously. For a movie now, this is almost like it almost still feels like a first trailer because like Doctor Strange, for example, we hadn't seen anything from that movie. They're coming out around the same time, Doctor Strange 2. So, but yeah, no, in terms of what we saw, I mean, I enjoyed it. Obviously when we talked about it on our podcast, New Generation Hero Talk, last week, I said I wasn't as excited for this panel or this movie at FanDome as you guys were. I wasn't as excited as opposed to things like Black Adam that we hadn't seen because we had already saw stuff from the Batman already. But if we're coming away with what was the biggest winner from FanDome, I would have to say it was the Batman. It was Matt Reeves. It was his movie, and that was, they showed the most footage. They had the best they had the best scissor reel, the best trailer, whatever you want to call it, of all of the movies that they showed. And I mean, the thing I think I was most impressed about, besides the incredible score, was just, I feel like this movie feels like Gotham. It feels the most like Gotham that we've seen. Like the Bale, I feel like the Bale Nolan Gotham almost felt kind of like New York. Like I didn't feel like
you feel like you were in danger.
Yeah, I didn't feel like I was in danger. It was still it was great, but it was like a different. Yeah. It was a different feel than even this one.
Yeah.
And we'll see when the movie comes out how it will portray on the big screen, but it just the characters, because there's so many different characters. You have someone like the Penguin who is in the movie, is not supposed to be like a big bad villain type of character, but is going to be in a movie and is going to be a character. You've got Selena Kyle, who is the main villain, but is going to be featured heavily, and then you've got the Riddler, who seems like he is going to be the main villain. But he's also going to be sharing time with these other characters. And you have someone like Jim Gordon, played by Jeffrey Wright, who we saw. We only caught a glimpse. We don't know how heavily he's even going to be in this movie. But then we also know he's going to get his own show afterwards. So they're really trying to expand the lore of this Gotham more than even the Nolan movies did. They're doing this Gotham feels almost as big as the Nolan's Gotham. And he had 3 movies, whereas this only has 1.
Right.
So it's fascinating how that's worked out. Not to mention, of course, you mentioned Andy Serkis's Alfred Pennyworth. That we got. I forgot he was in the movie because there's been so many different characters we've talked about. I'm like, oh yeah, Serkis is playing Pennyworth.
Yeah, I want to stay on that point, Sham, because we talked about who's the villain, how's it gonna go. We've heard rumors that it's kind of a Rose Gallery movie. We thought, well, how realistic is that? I mean, I thought, to me, it was very clear that this was going to feature a lot of these characters that we talked about being in this film, perhaps a lot more than I had imagined, because I figured that, okay, Selena Kyle would be peppered in there, and, Oswald would be peppered in there, but it's very clear that both of those characters have some major scenes and major kind of story arcs in this film, and I think it probably will work because it seems like, the Riddler we see in this trailer, the first shot, he gets arrested. He's behind bars. So it almost seems like a lot of his damage will be done, perhaps, behind bars, or they would have already been done, and now Batman trying to clean up what's happening, and this is where he's gonna run into these characters like Selena Kyle, like Oswald Cobblepot. What did you make of kind of what we saw when I saw Zoe Kravitz sitting right there, virtually, of course, with Pattinson and with Reeves? It made me realize, okay, no, she's not just a big character; she's gonna be a major character in this film.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, and look, I'm repping I have the proper attire on for this occasion. Of course, we're recording about FanDome, talking about Batman. Yeah, I mean, this looks fantastic, and I agree with everything that Kendall said. And also to your point, EJ, I mean, to me, this Gotham, and to your point as well, this Gotham, it feels almost like the Arkhamverse, honestly, a little bit.
Right.
Giving me a little bit of like Arkham Knight vibes, a little bit with like the whole Riddler, I guess, getting arrested but still doing all this from prison, maybe, or maybe even breaking out, or whatever the case may be. I don't know, but this is very. I mean, this God is a very dark God. It's a very, very dark Gotham. Penguins out here running the streets, driving all over the place, goons all over the place.
Yeah.
So this is crazy stuff. So I'm super excited. This got me the most excited.
Which,
as I thought it would.
I mean, Kendall, what did you think of kind of their seeing Pattinson as Bruce Wayne and kind of hearing the description how they landed on this character? I think Reeves refers to him as kind of like a recluse rock star in a quote decaying Wayne mansion. I think we see some of that in this trailer. I know Pattinson, I think, refers to him as kind of an odd creature. What did you kind of make of Bruce Wayne? I thought that, to me, if there was a weak point, and I love this trailer, I kind of thought that they still are withholding really what makes this Batman tick. Who is this Batman? I still feel like I don't really know that very much. I feel like I know a great deal of like who Oswald is and even who Selena is. I didn't get the greatest feel for Bruce, but I thought those descriptions they had, I definitely saw some of the tea leaves to that, and I was curious what you made of that.
Yeah, I will say, it's still awkward for me to see Robert Pattinson as Batman. That's the thing that I still am trying to get over the hump.
I am too. I agree.
And like they featured him heavily, like where early in the trailer he's banging on the thing and he's yelling at the guy, and I'm just like I'm not buying it yet. I still have to wait. And it's not like he's a bad actor or anything. It's just like it's going to be a different portrayal than we're used to. And I don't know. The way this trailer was, like, it felt like it wasn't made to introduce you to this Bruce Wayne. It was made to introduce you into the, like you said, the Gotham and the rest of the characters. Right. And as if like we already know who Bruce Wayne is, and I don't. Like, if this was a sequel movie, then I'd be fine. Like, if this was a second of this iteration of Batman, I would need to know. And look, I get it, because Batman is a character that we kind of already know. We know the story. I don't need you to give me all the entire origin, but we also have multiple different versions of Batman. So, and a lot of them are very distinctly different. So we need to know what version are we getting with Robert Pattinson. And right now, we don't know based off of anything that we saw in this trailer. We all we know is that he's Batman, and that I guess with age we know what he's going to look like. But from a character vibe, we really don't have a great idea yet.
And Shamar, we do know that Reeves mentions by name year one as an inspiration during the talking point, that essentially that this is not an origin, but this is Batman in his kind of early days. And what do you kind of think of kind of that little tidbit there? Also, Robert, in talking about the kind of coming to this character, he said that basically that what attracted him was this was going to be something radically different than anything that had been done before. Did you see radically different when you saw this trailer?
This Batman certainly looks very different from the others. I think this Bruce Wayne definitely looks a lot more on edge. Every time they show Robert Pattinson, he looks like he's very on edge.
He looks like he's like right on the cusp of like falling apart.
Yeah,
which is a very interesting kind of. We're so used to Bruce Wayne being very put together, even if it's a facade. But sometimes it's a facade, but he's put together. If he's not put together, it's because he's in like Nanda Parbat, or he's been locked away somewhere. But if he's in Gotham City and he's operating as Bruce, like he's very put together. You may be kind of putting on a show or whatever, but this is one where he's not. There really isn't much show, and I think that was interesting when Robert said that he's having a tough time kind of even deciding who Bruce and Batman is, and kind of deciphering between the two.
Yeah. which is very, which kind of goes back to the whole, I guess, year one thing of him trying to figure out being Batman still.
Yeah.
Which I think is a very interesting take on kind of an early Batman. So yeah, I mean, I love the approach. I don't know. I am just very much a fan of the whole take on, young Batman, new Batman, doesn't really know how to be Batman yet, you know isn't exactly good at being Batman yet necessarily.
Yeah.
So I am really looking forward to this, and Riddler seems like he's going to be very menacing, very like he may be doing some crazy stuff in this movie. So so far I'm impressed with everything that I see. Everything that I'm hearing from Matt Reeves sounds like he's really like he is really trying to have a fresh new take on
what
this
I will say,
Batman.
and this isn't a knock, but this is just a fact from my vantage point, that while I thought this was a really good trailer, I will say that I don't know. I still don't think it is a sure bet that it's going to be a really good movie. I'll say that. Based off of the trailer.
Interesting.
And there are some movies where you can see a trailer and be like, oh yeah, this movie's going to be awesome. I'm not there yet.
I mean,
I think I'm on. I think I'm there. I could be totally wrong, but I think, and like I thought the trailer. My thing was, I thought this trailer was great. I didn't think it was the greatest trailer ever, but I thought it was a great trailer. I thought it was legitimately great. Again, I agree with you. I think that kind of getting comfortable with Pattinson under the cowl is still a leap for me. I didn't get there with this trailer, so that's not nothing. That's a big deal. But I think that some of the cinematography and some of the visuals from this trailer were just so immaculate. And to me, I felt like watching Colin Farrell and watching Zoe Kravitz play those characters. I'm convinced that Reeves knows exactly what he's doing when it comes to creating the world around Batman, because everything else is so muted and dark, and those two characters who are kind of on the outside fringe, they pop so much in everything that they do, everything that they say. They stand out, and he's able to bring that out of them from how he shoots them. It was great, and all I needed to see was that final shot of the the car chase between Penguin and Batman. Yeah, and that's just like, again, that's something that you could have pulled out of a cartoon or a comic book. See that kind of play out the way it did. I mean, I can't wait. If that movie somehow turns out being trash, that would shock me. I'm not gonna say it's the greatest. I'm not gonna say it's the greatest Batman ever.
I can see it. I
don't see it as the greatest Batman ever. It'd be even be underwhelming. That would be surprising.
Yeah, I can see it having mixed reactions. Maybe people, I prefer this Batman. I prefer Batfleck. Whatever. But
right.
I can't see this being most people are just like, I don't like this. I can't see that.
Right.
I really can't. I think a lot of people are gonna like this Batman. Even just from the trailers alone.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are going to like this Batman. And, I think there's a lot of talent. I already like Colin Farrell's Penguin. I already think he's doing a good job.
Yeah.
I already am excited to see it.
Yeah.
He's already one of the best on-screen Penguins that we've seen.
Yeah, and I was the one that was a little more concerned.
You were kind of, but me too. I
gotta say, I've been super impressed by him.
Doing all this prosthetic stuff. I got to see, but he looks great. Kravitz looks great. Sounds great so far. And I trust Matt Reeves. Matt Reeves is a fantastic director.
Right.
And Pattinson. I've liked what I've seen from Pattinson recently. The various few things I've seen from him. He's a really talented guy.
Yeah.
We saw Tenet. He was good in Tenet.
Oh yeah.
I think he was great in Tenet. Honestly.
Yeah.
He's a really, really good actor. So I think he's going to bring in this movie.
Well, I mean, this is going to be kind of the movie. When it comes out, I think it's really, we know of the avalanche.
A couple weeks later.
Well, I was gonna say is that we know the avalanche is kind of coming from Marvel. It just feels like DC has a lot of stuff. Some of the stuff is kind of slow developing. There was a pandemic and things like that, and some of the stuff wasn't as far along as maybe the Marvel stuff was. But it feels like this is kind of the project that has to hold the line. And every time I see anything from it, I feel like it's going to do the job. Because, I mean, it is impressive stuff happening over there. Shout out to Matt Reeves. Shout out to everyone working on the Batman. Can't wait to see the movie next year. That'll do it for this video discussing the events of DC FanDome. Make sure you check out all of our other videos on the New Generation Media channel here on YouTube. That'll do it for now. For Kendall, for Shamari, I'm EJ. Take it easy, guys. Peace.